If you've been thinking about wanting to start a podcast but not sure where to get started, I have some news for you. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. There are creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you, so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and many more. You can make money from your podcast as well with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. So download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Hi gang, Donna here. Today I am interviewing ST Rappaport. She has a very interesting name and a very interesting story to go with this. At 16, she decided she was kind of bored with school. I think we've all been there. I know I was, but some of us have different options, and she definitely chose a different plan. So here today to talk about was it better to take that plan or not, it's Etsy, which I screwed up again. Anyway, take it away and tell us about yourself.
Okay, so do you want me to start from like what I do today or
No,
what
back
happened at
then.
16?
Tell us about 16. Well, we will get to today, but tell us about 16. What made you decide you were done with school?
Okay, so let's start with the fact that I absolutely hated school from a very young age. I always loved learning. And my parents say yeah, when you were in pre-1A and first grade, you were so excited to go to school. But I don't have any memories from that age. I know from second grade, I hated school already. Like forget the test, had a really hard time reading and till I got to that. And it just wasn't for me. And then the whole social, I have much preferred to be with people one-on-one versus the whole crowd of everything else, everyone going on like that. So it was just a lot. And I never liked it ever. I didn't like elementary school. I eventually I was almost like the troublemaker a little bit, not really trouble. I was really good at making trouble without getting into trouble. Because I
Understand.
wasn't trying to make trouble. I just didn't have patience. So I cut classes left and right, but I knew how to do it without having to sit attention or having the effects on it afterwards.
You would have liked my college prep school I went to because it was set up with 6 days, even though we went Monday through Friday, so the schedule always rotated, and we had these blocks. Every class was 20 minutes, or at least 40 minutes.
20 minutes.
No. The classes were set up. The schedule was 20 minutes blocks. So you had 20 mods, and during that 20 mods, you may have a 40-minute class, and then you may have an hour off sometimes. So you go out in the backyard and you're sitting in the backyard and just having fun. And occasionally, as I told somebody the other day, we'd have a male streaker because it was an all-girl Catholic school come running through, and I always missed it, but it was fun. And I get the thing because when I was younger in kindergarten, my mom got called in because I didn't want to do my work. And when they asked me, I'm like, I can't help it if everybody else is stupid. I know it. I'm bored. You get bored, and school loses its interest if you're bored. So continue.
Yeah, school loses its interest if it's bored, which is funny because, like I said, I absolutely love learning. Like today, I just never stop learning. So that was elementary school, and then I went to high school, and I was there for 2 years. I actually had two really good friends. Again, I was friendly with everyone. I was the type of kid that everyone would come to me if they had older stories, their parents were going through a divorce or their father was sick or something like that. And so it wasn't the social so much. I really I had that little bit when I was younger, but by the time I was in high school, it's totally fine. But I was just over and done with schoolwork, again studying for tests, and again having to do these reports, and again and I was okay, that's first of all. Second of all, although I was good with everyone, I felt that so many of the people there were just so they were immature. I don't know. I always looked at myself even as a kid I was really mature. People told that to me all the time. Oh, you're so mature. So I don't really know if I was were people really telling it to me, or it's just an illusion of myself that I really thought it was. But either way, that's how I felt being such a teenager. And so I was okay, I told my parents, I'm that's it. I'm done with school. I'm not going back to school. And they're okay, well, you can't, whatever, how else, you can't just really go out of school, the effect that it's going to have on you. If you drop out, totally. If actually, I respect those people that drop out. It sounds crazy, but it's such a big decision to do that I mean, if you do it consciously, not if you do it just because
Right,
like
right.
thing, but like if it's like a conscious thing, because like afterwards, like you get such bad names about it and people like say, call you different things and your like reputation is so-called ruined. Although most like top millionaires and billionaires are either college dropouts or high school
Yeah,
dropouts.
yeah.
So I'm not like dissing that at all when I'm saying this, but my parents were like a little bit worried and they're like, okay, so what else could you do? Maybe if you go to school in a different state, it will be a different style, a different thing. And they like, we did like research into all different types of schools and like nothing seemed fit. Like it was just like another high school. And that like doesn't solve my problem because I'm done studying, like I'm done doing school. And like I don't know, like the people there are also going to be immature. Now, it bit back at me afterwards when I went to high school, because when I went to the school in England, because in England, they finish school at 16. At 16, they start their college. Like they have a little different system there. They call it A
Mhm.
levels. But they start their college. So I thought, okay, cool. I want to go to England. I will obviously first like took my GED. So like I got my diploma and I'm like, I have my diploma. My class has 2 more years in school. Like, this is so cool, you know?
Well, here's the
um,
thing, I have to ask, so you got your GED, which is the equivalent of going to those 2 years in school, but you still graduated basically. So what was the harm? You just,
right,
you just
exactly. There was no harm.
yeah.
I literally, like, I didn't even have to, like, maybe go to England. I mean, I don't know. There was some really good things about it. So I don't know. Was it a good thing? We'll have to figure that out. But
Yes,
for
that's why we're
now, but for then, like I wasn't like I was really glad I had that diploma. But I wasn't really sure like what else was gonna happen for me. So also people say like, okay, so you did your GEDs, but that's like, oh, it's just like a couple of tests and da da da. I'm like, I don't know. For me, that's high school diploma. It's all the same. I don't really have to sit through the classes to go and figure it out. I have to like study by myself, you know? So then I went I was like, okay, I'm gonna go to England. I'm gonna study there. There, it's gonna be college. Yeah.
Can I ask you something? So what was was there a reason that England appealed to you besides the 16 years of age thing? Was there a reason why you wanted to go to England? I mean, for me personally, I've always wanted to go to England. So for you, was there a reason that you wanted to go there besides just that at 16 I can go to college?
So it was probably I'm gonna like if I didn't think about that so much then I remember like we were just like asking people like what other schools, like what other options there were, and people kept on saying England. But I think that a really big part of it was it's also like the same language, even though it's not. I learned a whole new language there.
What do you
But
mean? I don't know
you
what you're
probably
talking
hear it in my
about.
voice still because they tell me
Yeah.
that I still sound English. So but I think that was a really big part because I wasn't going to school really to work hard. Meaning most people they go study abroad, they want to like get into their studies, see how it fits in a different culture and different things. For me, I was like, I'm going to go study different culture. This school also had people from all over the world. It wasn't like just like I was like an outsider in an English school. So I got to meet people from all over the world and things like that. We could get that into soon, but that was like probably the part of the two big reasons. The biggest reason, the 16, but then afterwards the language and the fact that it was made for people from all over the world.
Okay.
Um, so I went to England and I actually we like went to check it out first in the summer, like when I went to apply, and I was like completely blinded. I was like, I am not going back to school. This is just an amazing school. This is like, I don't care what I'm going here. True, the dorm isn't like amazing, but like it's fine, all good. I was completely blinded. I walked back in on the first day of school, and even before I walked in, and I knew I was like, the girls here, because it was an all girls school, is not they're not all mature. Sorry. I'm coming here because I want more mature girls and they're not. And like then it hit me. It's like they're still 16. It's true it's a college, but the age is the same and that maturity didn't hit. And that was really, really hard for me because I thought I was going to a place like I'm going to college, I'm going to a place
Yeah.
where people are more mature, and they weren't. Not to like put anyone down, but they were the same level of maturity as my kids back at home. That I was like, that was a really big
Rude
defeat.
awakening?
Yeah, it was and it was really hard afterwards, like afterwards having to go and like make those friends, because I was like, okay, there's like a couple hundred girls here. Now, how, like, who am I going to go and find friends? Like, who's like mature? Now, I'm also like the type, like, I love people watching, not in a bad way. I don't like to judge people, just like I like to observe people. I'm really into, like, as you know, I do life fixed relationships, and like I'm very into like relationships and how people work and how people connect with each other. So I love watching people. So usually I'm the type of person that like knows right away who I want to be my friend. Not that like I won't talk to other people, but I know who I'll like connect with right away. And that is really what happens. Like my friends from high school, like I knew on the first day of school, these are gonna be my friends. And like till today, we are like really, really close just because that like I understood that chemistry. So I was like, okay, there's like a few hundred girls here. A lot of them are immature, but there has to be some that are mature. I mean, like if I consider myself mature, there has to be, right?
Yeah.
Also was like people went there for 2 years, like they finished their like because of the England's level, like they got 3 A levels in like 2 years. And so I was like, okay, so like there's also girls that are like a year older. Usually they came, and also if they came from like different parts of the world, not everybody was 16. All the English girls was 16, but not everyone, because like depending where they finished school or if they left school early or a different thing. So we had like a range of ages. So I was like, okay, so not everyone in here is 16, not everyone in here is immature. Like I have to find those people. And that was what I had to do. But you know what? Today I have really good friends there, from there. So
That's awesome. That's awesome. So going over there, there had to be somewhat of a culture shock.
yeah.
Sure.
Totally. First, like I had to, part of the reason why I thought they were so mature was obviously because of that culture difference. Like they're they're much okay. They are really cold. They say English people are cold. They are. They take much longer to open up. They like don't connect with people the same way. Their relationships that they have with people are different. Now, at the same time, there's also people from all different parts of the world. So you have like the French girls who are extremely warm and always hugging and always kissing and always like they're just like that. And then the English people who like, get away from me. What on heaven's earth are you doing here? So it was really interesting, besides for the culture of the actual like of England and like learning a new language, and then afterwards having to come back home to America and like you can't call that rubbish, or you have like while you singing while you're talking. I'm like, I'm not trying to sing like words I would like purposely say, like even in England, no, this is not rubbish, this is garbage, or this is not a boot, this is a trunk, just for myself so I would remember English American words.
Yeah.
But what?
No, go ahead.
But the like the tone, the like I would sing. I still do it a little bit now, but totally, it's like I have no control over that. I can't, even if I try.
When at 16, I moved from New Orleans to Shreveport. In New Orleans, they do not sound like they do in the movies typically. We tend to sound more like we're from New York. So, and like England, we had different words. Like the median is the neutral ground down there. And instead of an inspection sticker where your car gets inspected, it was a brake tag. And because my grandfather worked on the railroad, a closet was a locker and a suitcase was a grip. And so I would say these things and my friends would look at me like I was totally insane. So I know where you're coming from. They're like, and of course, at the time, one of my friends, Heart had a song out and the line was something like candle in your grip. And one of my wise ass friends was like, so when your clothes catch on fire then? Like, oh, funny. So I get it. I mean, those words, and you're like, what are you talking? Yeah, I completely understand, but continue.
Yeah, it was also like both ways. Like they had to understand me, I understand them. Obviously, you pick it up really quickly when you're living there. That is the best way to learn a language, is to just go to the country. So that was that. There was also obviously the food. There was like just their whole mentality of how they do things. Like they go shopping much more. Americans are actually known for like they have bigger fridges because they usually do like now probably things changed because of COVID, but they go like one big grocery shopping a week, and then if they need stuff, they go afterwards during the week. In England, like they go to the stores every single day. So like there'll be people going to the store every single day. I'm like, why are you going to the store every single day? I was just there yesterday. I have better things to do in my life than to go to the grocery store,
Yeah.
So there's just little things. I looked at it more like, okay, like from a very interesting, like besides for the immaturity part, which I had to learn a lot from, but besides for that, I tried to say, okay, like this is like a once in a lifetime experience. I'm going to be here for 2 years if I make it through for the 2 years, but let me like learn as much as I could from it. So I would like go to all sorts of people, all sorts of places. Like I never liked going to like even the same bar twice, because like that's also a really good part. There, you only have to be 18 to get like alcohol, or like all those things. The legal age is 18. So that was like really cool for me. I like could buy alcohol here and then come back to America, and I wasn't like 21 and I couldn't do that.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, but even just like going to different places and seeing different things, then that was really different. Also, I was in Manchester, not in London, so it was very different. And Manchester weather, if you think London weather is bad, you have them at Manchester. Manchester, it is literally raining every single day. There's a reason why people are just like in bad moods every day. I don't blame them. I used to love rain until I went there. Like I live in Jersey, so we have like humid heat in the summer, but then like there'll be like 40 minutes, good thunderstorm, heavy rain, like it just rains and it just like sounds like, I love the sound of the rain and like the thunder. And I think it's like stunning. And then like I went to England, there were these little droplets of rain, just like the whole day rainy and like a gray sky. And if it's like a sun like once a year, everyone is just like outside, everyone, because
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the alcohol thing I understand because, yeah, I'm going to age myself right now. I was 18, it was still legal. And before my birthday, which was in October, September 30th, they decided it was the cutoff point. So I could buy alcohol one week and then the next week I couldn't. However, I was dating somebody who was a liquor store manager, so I had no problem getting alcohol. But I mean, if I wanted it. But the whole fact is, it was just like, I even got kicked out of a liquor store. I'm like, I was just able to come in last week. Yeah, but now I said 13 days shy, and you're going to say, no? Yeah, 13 days. So I know what the joy of buying alcohol at 18 is. Yeah. And I don't understand why they do that now, because it's like, well, you can go die for your country, but you can't drink. You can get
Yeah,
married,
I
but you
know.
can't drink. You can't even
Forget
have a
about
kid,
it. Well, yeah, exactly. You can get married.
but you can't drink.
You know, they have like even worse. There are like certain types of scissors and like super glue. You have to be 18 to buy. It is ridiculous there.
I used to work in insurance, and some of the stuff that people have done, I can understand why some things apply. And I was looking at my curling iron the other day, and it's like there's this big sticker on it that I didn't even pay any attention to. And it's like, do not use on eyes, may burn eyes. I'm like, who was the idiot who decided, let me put this up against my eyelids? I mean, common sense.
Yeah,
The,
yeah.
the maturity thing I get. I mean, sometimes we do mature a lot quicker. I was told the same thing. I was told I'm mature, you're much older than you are. Okay, thanks. So I understand not relating to your peers necessarily. Going to concerts or whatever, the girls are all standing around screaming, and I'm just kind of not so much at the concert afterwards and seeing the celebrity or the rock star. They're all screaming, and I'm just kind of standing there like, look, they're people. Just chill.
Right.
They have really cool jobs. I mean, imagine putting yourself in that position to walk up to somebody and look at him and just start screaming.
I'm embarrassed.
Yeah, exactly. So, did you date while you were over in England?
No, actually not. I actually didn't date also for like really like when I came back afterwards. I had like my own personal things. I just sort of at first I was like, hey, I'm just not dating now. I'm gonna wait a bit, and like I was fine. Because I wasn't like interested in it.
Yeah.
It didn't like affect me at all.
I get it. So, you survived the 2 years there, correct?
Yeah,
And do you
I'm
miss
here.
it?
No, not one bit.
So you were happy
The
to come home.
joy of being done with school.
And you were happy to come home, obviously.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was happy to just like be done. Obviously, like I said, it was interesting. I made one really good friend. She was in my year. Like the way it worked wasn't depending on on like how old you were, depending on like what year you are, more like college, right? So she was in my year, but then I became friends with her. I knew again from the beginning of the first year that I wanted to be friends with her, but like I was like way too shy to like just like I was like, how am I going over to her? She also like had a whole group of friends, and I was like, how am I just like going over to her and not being weird? Also, I don't like just like join group conversations because like I told you, I don't have patience for that. So it took a really long time till we actually built up that friendship. But like in the last 2 months of the second year was like when we became really, really good. And so she was like, okay, I'm gonna go home. I want to miss her. But then there was another girl who was in the grade above me. So I was only in school with her for 1 year. And again, I knew right away from the beginning. I remember on the first day when we came, like you have to fill out like obviously you fill out all your like your visa forms and stuff like that, but they needed some like additional health things like from everyone in the school. And she was helping them, like the new girls that were coming in,
Mhm.
fill it out. And I remember I walked into the room, they had like this little room where it was like with a scale and stuff like where they could just like get their information. And I walked in and she's like just like asking me questions, like she's being really friendly and asking me, and she was like busy because she's like there's like a whole bunch of people like waiting to go and do this, but I was like, this is a girl I'm going to be friends with. And again, it took a really long time, all the way till the end of the year, last few weeks of school, we
Yeah.
became like we spoke and we like chat, but I only became friends with her like about a year after I left. So like I kept up with her like a bit, like texting a little bit, but not really friends. So at that point my biggest thing was really like, okay, just this one friend. I know I'm going to be back in England. We're going to have to go travel, meet somewhere in some random place, which we have quite a bit afterwards. But like, I'm done with this. I'm like over with school. I'm ready to live my life. No one tell me where I have to be when. I didn't even get a job afterwards, as in like I work for myself now. I do my own things, but no one is like telling me what I have to do anymore.
How was it to come back after 2 years? I mean, I assume you moved in with your parents again?
Yes, I did. Right. And I come back, I did. So actually we came back like because of the English calendar, they have like half term and like their breaks are different. They don't have like a big summer break. They have like a break, a nice break in the middle of the year also. And it was college. So think of it more like college schedule. So I came back 4 times every year, like
Okay.
think every season for like about 3 weeks. So it wasn't like crazy. I wasn't away for like 2 years and then all of a sudden back into this American culture shock. And I was thinking like I got
Yeah.
rebalanced back every time I came back home.
So, how did your parents handle your decision?
I think first the fact that like I wanted to like just be done with school and like be finished with it, they were like not happy. Like I was actually like wanting to switch schools earlier because I was just like hoping again, like in my immaturity of a teenager, hoping that um and maybe also because of the school a little bit, but hoping that a different school would be better and I won't be like so annoyed by it. And they were like so against it, like no way, they don't want to do it. But what happened was that year, and I was in 10th grade, in my last year in school, I had two brothers who were doing really bad in school. Like it just wasn't good for them. And they both ended up getting homeschooled. So once they were like in that, like doing different type of mindset, they realized, okay, like school looked really bad. They saw like really clearly how it was bad for both my brothers. And they like literally like didn't let one of my brothers wanted to go back to school. And my mom was like, no, like I'm not letting you go there. It's like he was like little, he was like 5 or something or 6
Wow.
at that time. And it was like harming him and he just like wanted to go back and she was like, no way. So then like she had a different mindset. And when it came to me saying like, okay, I want to switch schools, she was like, I'm okay. But like you have, like I said, like you can't just like drop out of school. You have to do like something normal. So once I had a concrete plan of like, okay, I'm going to go to England for 2 years. I'm going to come back just when my class is graduating. Then they were totally fine with it.
So, what did you study over in England?
So I studied mostly art. Was really interesting. Like I love art. I always like took art lessons as a kid. I did like like painting a lot. I did not know how to draw. So I always had to like every time we had to draw like part of our assignments, we had to draw. I had to like find ways to go about it without having to draw.
Uh-huh.
Sometimes it meant someone else drawing it for me, but usually like I would like see like if I could like do a different
Mhm.
like medium instead. And so that was really fun. I didn't like so much about it. It was very much like using the logic part. Like, this is the creative process, and you have to go and follow the creative process. Tell us how you did this. And I was like, I don't work like that. Art is like fun, and you just go and you do things. Don't tell me
Yeah.
what to do, right?
Well,
So I would have to do it backwards. I would like make the thing I wanted to make. And then I was like, okay, if I was doing this the right way, what piece would have gone here? And am I going to make some samples and do some writings for that?
I had a freshman art teacher, and um, she had a very bad propensity. This was, in fact, because of her, I couldn't take art my sophomore year. And if I would have stayed at that school, I couldn't have taken art any longer. I actually failed art. How do you frickin' fail art? I'll tell you how you fail art. You fail art because your teacher comes over, she looks at the still life you're drawing, and she goes, "That's not right." Okay. So she sketches, and you go back and you sketch again. And this goes on 4 or 5 times. And then she comes back and she sketches again, and she's telling you once again it's not right. So I looked at her stuff and I drew right over her stuff, right over her stuff.
And
And
again, she said it's not right.
you got it. And I'm like, funny, you drew it. I traced it.
Is that what you told her?
Yes. I did not get sent to the principal's office, but I was on her list for the rest of the year. In fact, she tried to bribe me, telling me if I brought Chinese bell peppers to class, or Chinese red peppers, spicy peppers for her cooking class, that she was going to pass me. My mom refused, and I flunked.
Yeah, you see why I don't like the school system.
However, and this was a Catholic private school, and I went to art. When I went to the next school, I took art, had no problems, did fine. My teachers loved my work. In fact, I was a teacher's pet in my junior year. So, but that's the problem with art. Art is something that is subjective. I mean, it's to the person that is seeing it, it's the person that's viewing it. And for her to come around and say, "Well, that's not right," I see it differently than you do. You see it differently than I do. That's life in general, is it not? I mean, your perception of an event, my perception of an event is two different things because it's our perception. And that's the same thing with
Exactly.
art. But people don't get it. And looking at, I've never thought about looking at art logically, but then when you look at the creative process of writing a book, you have to think about it logically, even though you may
Right.
not want to.
Right,
But
right, right.
fun and
So it
interesting.
depends like how you work. Sometimes, okay, I never wrote a book, so I can't really talk. Um, and I'm like so bad at writing. But I could, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like you talking, then like I can't
I
me,
got
I
two
can't really
books.
say anything. I really can't. But I'm just like imagining maybe it should be more of a question like than a statement. It is like I'm gonna turn it into a question. Do you think it's possible to first just like write it all out and then follow the creative process, or that's just like not gonna work?
It's part of the creative process. As far as writing, if you're writing fiction, it's part of the creative process. I can tell you how many, it's the whole argument of pantser versus plotting. And I have notebooks of plots, but no matter what, my characters will always come back and go, "Hey, got a better idea." And so then you're always changing. My first book took me 3 years to write. Actually, it's a lie. My first book, which never will see the light of day, took me 30 years to write. The first book I wrote was a side character. The second book I wrote, it took me a month to write.
Month.
Yeah,
That's
but
it.
now, but the follow up to that first book, it'll be 2 years that that book came out in May, and I
Oh
still have not
wow.
finished. So the creative process, I think it's all about when the muse is flowing, the energy is flowing. If you can step into that process and it doesn't, and it's the same with art. If it's flowing, if you can see it, look at your picture and you're painting your picture and you know that this feels right. It's flowing. It's there. It's easy to do. But just like me, if I write a scene and I'm like, I can tell when internally when I am forcing it. And the same is true as an artist. I mean, when I had to do a picture that I had no desire to paint or draw, it was forced. So I think
Yeah,
for the
you could
creative,
tell the difference.
yeah, the creative process, it's a very intuitive process. Just like if I'm reading somebody's cards, I can tell if I'm reading their cards, that this reading is not for them, that it's not the right reading, because in my gut I can feel it. If it's the right reading, it's easy, it's flowing. So I think the creative process has a lot to do with being in the flow and embracing that instinct of what you feel.
I wish you were my art teacher.
I wish I was my own art teacher. I wouldn't have flunked.
I'm serious. Like all like the primary research, secondary research, all like the evidence you had to bring, all those stuff, like they would just like get in the way of what I had to be thinking. And I would like literally go back and say, okay, so we're doing this thing on bridal. Like we had to do like one of the things we had to do was like a whole like bridal setup thing. And we needed to bring a primary research of flowers, like after, because of my setup, what it is, I needed flowers. After my whole display was done, I was like, okay, what real flower could I go and find that will so cool be my primary research for this thing? I know it worked backwards and it probably wasn't the right thing,
No,
but
no, because in the writing process, my books tend to be set in the 80s and 90s. So I go back and I will look for pieces that were back then, cars that were back then, and be specific, even if it's the name of a freaking cell phone, because maybe the younger generation can't read it, or they won't know what it's about, but the older generation will be reading and connect. So I get working backwards. Sometimes you have to, sometimes you can't just you go with the flow, you blow it out, and then you have to work backwards sometimes to refine it.
yeah. Yeah, I like that so much better. And you know that really like the when you're using your two sides of your brain separately, your logic side of your brain and your like your emotional, your creative side of your brain separately, then they each work so
Yeah.
much better on their own without you're trying to like force going back and forth between writing it.
Yeah. Well, when you talk about logic, my old job, I was an insurance claims adjuster and a supervisor. And so the logic, because it was figuring out auto accidents, how auto accidents happen and going through injury. So it's all logic based, all has to be black and white. And then there's the creative side of me, which I thrive in. So it's a very you have to stay balanced, because if you get too creative, then you lose the logic and then you get flighty. So then you have to stay logical, but then you don't want to tamp down the creative. So you have to find a balance.
Yeah, and there are times when they do have to work together.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Like exactly. You can't have like just your, like you said, one part of your brain like
Yeah.
overdeveloped and just be
I
out
mean,
of whack.
as an artist, you have to look at, okay, the logical pieces. What size canvas am I going to work with? What type of paints or what type of medium am I going to work with? Is this going to be better in chalk or oil? What's going to be more palatable to the eye? So
Exactly.
there's still logic based in creativity. I don't think we always look at it that way. I think we just look at it as it's creative. So
Yeah, like I was about to say that, like what size canvas, what type of
yeah,
medium, what I think, like usually artists will just say like
yeah.
intuitively they thought we needed to do this thing, right? They won't, but really that was the logic.
But here it is. It's logic, but it's not. It is intuitive. It does, because instinctively you know what you need.
Right.
The logic comes in because you've been taught these lessons about, okay, so this medium works this way. That's where the logic plays in. It's just a I think sometimes with the logical, we've learned all these lessons and all these bits that it kind of just it becomes the mundane. We don't necessarily look at it as the logical. It's just a piece of what we do.
Yeah. Yeah.
If that makes sense. So now that we got way off track,
Well, that was so interesting. So
well, as long as you found it interesting, hopefully everybody else did. So how did so we're back home now. You're staying with your parents. What happened? How long did you stay with your parents before you decided, okay, I'm ready to step out on my own?
so it was a couple months. What happened was that my mom owns, besides for homeschooling kids, she owns a preschool, okay?
Okay.
Like a daycare center. And just when I came home, it was they were like building their new building, and the work of building a new building and all the problems that come up with it and things. And I like always told her for years, like, I'm not working for you. I worked for you every summer, like all my off days. I'm not working for you now. Like I came home and she's like, ST, like I just need you. Like you're really good at these things. Some of the stuff or the creative parts. And they just like had like some like even extra problems that people have. Like let's say their interior designer, her husband was sick, and like so he had like cancer. So what would happen was he'd be like fine for like a couple of months. Then all of a sudden one day he would turn bad, and she'd be in the hospital for like days and days with him. And like things. So while she was working with him, like in the beginning, it was great. But like all of a sudden, then at that point, she was just out and she just couldn't come. So like now they were stuck there like in the middle of their project and like what they're doing. So just like these like little things that happen while you're building. So for those first couple of months until like they were really, their building was ready and they did move back in, I did um I stood there, and then when after I left, then I was like, okay, we're gonna move out.
But I mean, did you end up helping them out where with the art part of it? They create, yeah.
Yeah, so the actual like it was like more the end stages of the building, right? So I was like wishing, I was like, I wish I was here in the beginning to help you choose the tiles and the paint and stuff like that. And that was like basically done, right? Like everything wasn't like was being installed at that time, and they couldn't like really change things so much. But just like the little bits that I could. Like I'll give you an example. It sounds so stupid, but like for me it was so much fun, and I think it still makes a difference. Like they have all the exterior walls of the building have to have legally at least like 10% like clear that you could see inside, like just like prevention of like abuse and stuff like that. So what they did was they didn't want to just put like regular windows like into the hallway. So what they did was they made like circles in the hallway of like in every classroom, like circles, like, so it was like cute. Like you walk down the
Yeah.
hallway and you just see circles, like different sizes and in different places and different things. And around the rim of the circle, there's like this like foam piece that like holds it in place, because it's not like a window outside, it's like in a building, it's just a piece of thing. And they were like, okay, we want to paint this, like let's make it nice and pretty, right? Not just like weird white that's like
Right.
doesn't match anything here. So they had like their 4 like logo colors that was just like running through the building, and they had to like decide, this was like a last minute thing, like everything was on already, okay, we're going to paint these, but which window is getting which color. Now you could really just go and play, okay, blue, orange, green, purple, whatever. But I was like, no, okay, this color here goes better. This color room is green, so you don't want to do this one. You don't want to put 2 blues together, different things like that. So like in the last bit, like last minute, so-called designing things I got to be part of, and that was fun.
Well, that sounds awesome. And did you branch? Do you still use art today?
Okay. So actually, why I'm so interested in this like logic and creative part is, first of all, today I'm a photographer. So that is one set of art. And I was a photographer before in college. I rented a studio in England and I did pictures for people there.
Nice.
But besides for that, I'm also a creative journal expressive arts coach. Now I know that's a really long name that I did not make up, but basically, it's a method that uses both sides of your brain, really both sides of your both hands, to connect between the logic side of your brain and your emotional side of your brain, your creative side of your brain. So I do a lot of art on a daily basis with my clients, but not regular art, expressive art. So we're not trying to like make pictures. We're trying to like have fun and like do our non-dominant hand, so it doesn't even come up pretty. We're not even like trying to go and do things, but I use art really often. Like usually my hands are like covered of paint and and like markers. Today not yet, I have a few more sessions afterwards, but
Is this more of a healing thing for your clients, or is it just a form of expression?
yeah. So usually is like people usually come for more healing. Either I work mostly with couples, so either like something in the relationship, although, or sometimes people are just like traumas from the past or experiences from the past. But it's something that like literally, like I just wish more people knew about, because it would be so helpful. Like next time like someone's angry, like anyone listening, most people when they're angry, they do one of 2 things. They either yell and like let it out on other people, or they bottle it up inside them and eventually it explodes. If you just scribble with your non-dominant hand, okay, that's the hand you don't usually use to write with, you're going to get direct access from your emotions onto the paper, and it will come out of your system in a healthy way. So there's just like little things like that I wish more people would know.
What possessed you to do this?
Okay, so as I was doing this photography, I was doing it just for couples because I love the emotions that go on there. And they would take their favorite pictures to hang up on the wall like a vision board. Now, I think vision boards are really cool, like they set your mind in the right direction, but when you're actually having that fight with your partner, you are not it's not going to solve you. Like, you're not like, hey, vision board, come here, I need your help. Like, it doesn't work like that. So I was looking for other ways to go and help the couples I was working with. And someone was by my house who we needed a place to stay. Like, she ended up being by my house for a couple of days, and she's like, creative journal, expressive arts coach. And she was like, talking about this, like, you write with your non-dominant hand and you get the answer that you're looking for. And you, like, it's so easy making decisions afterwards, and your communication just improves. And she's like going on and on and on about all these benefits that happen. I was like, okay, this sounds cool. And maybe it could be the thing that I want to do. Like, I love learning. I want to learn about this, but I don't want to go to school. That was like part of my condition. Like, what else could I do without having, like, I'm not going to become a marriage therapist. I just don't have the patience for that. So I went sessions by her, and then afterwards I went to get trained in it, and I now mix it in together, photography.
Awesome. One thing that people don't realize when they're arguing with their partner, and I learned, I was married for 16 years and he passed. But one thing we learned as our relationship went on is that when you're ticked off with somebody, you walk away. And I mean, I know some women despise when a man walks away, but I would walk away from him sometimes and take 5, 10, 15 minutes, walk away, and then go back, because 10 to 1, you're going to sit there, you both apologize. And whoever was really ticked is going to end up saying, it wasn't about you, it was about me or something else around. And that's the thing. And that can be with a friendship or whatever. If you step back and you actually give it some time, it's usually not about the person you're yelling at. It's
Yeah.
about you feeling so frustrated inside. And he had a lot of health issues and vision issues. So for him, his frustration was more than I could ever understand, because I can see. But you have to be able to accept your partner as they are. And they're flawed. We're all flawed. There's no such thing as a perfect spouse.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I think that's the thing, that if we could step back and look, that sometimes they're going to screw up. I'm not saying forgive everything, but if you love the person enough, then it should be worth saving.
Yes. Oh my gosh, said so well. Yeah.
So,
Yeah. When someone says like, like, spouse not perfect, I'm like, are you perfect? Right.
perfect. And the thing is, there is no such thing as real perfection. There is none. I mean, I don't know how many people look at one of my books. And the other night I was rereading it for something, because I'm trying to write the second book. And it's like, oh, look, there's the word is there twice. My editor didn't catch it. People that have read it have not told me this. So will it ever be perfect? And there's books that are published by professional houses, same thing. So if you look at a book and then you transfer for that to other things in your life, you're don't chase perfection, because guess what? It doesn't exist.
Yeah, exactly.
So now that how many years ago was this that this whole journey began for you?
Not that long ago. I'm only 22. So I came home 18. So that's 4 years ago.
Okay, so 4 years
Yes.
ago. And in that 4 years, um, what has, besides the art and the photography, how has your life changed since you did that? Do you feel more mature? Do you feel more comfortable with your peers now? Or are you still feeling that they're still immature and they want to party and carry on?
Totally not. Totally not. First of all, I'm not in an environment like that, like in school, like where I could just get on. Also, I think school is just like an environment that create like that immaturity. Like, these people like in their own homes and after school and in different places. I can't say always, but a lot of times, like, they're not like you said, you're bored of school. Like, you're gonna act in certain ways just because. So I'm not in that environment anymore, so I don't have to. I also now working with couples, I work much more with older people versus people my age, although also I do sometimes that I'm not like around them. Like, you're way more mature than me, you know what I'm saying? But more than that, I really did, yeah, especially this CJA work really like it really changed my life. Like, I really like became much healthier, it's much stronger inside, and like I don't now see it as immaturity. Like, now it's like I was the immature one for always thinking that they're immature.
It's just a normal, people are going to be whoever they're going to be, and there's still going to be people were one way at 16, that are still going to be that way at 16. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
it's just a matter of, do you connect with them or not?
Yeah.
So, where do you see yourself going in the next 5 years?
So the next 5 years, I hope to really work on my, like, go much deeper in my work. So right now I'm doing the Life Picks Relationship podcast. So we're hoping by the end of 2025 to have 1 million downloads per episode. So we're working really, really hard on that. I know it's crazy numbers, but I have big goals. That sort of thing, and just growing my business, and then a personal relationship also, like getting that and going deeper in that.
Nice, nice. So where can my listeners find you at?
So best place is probably the podcast, Life Picks Relationships. You'll get all the information there, or you could go to lifepicksrelationships.com
And
and
that's with an X, correct?
yeah, Life Picks with an X, and then relationships with an S at the end.
Okay.
So yeah, lifepicksrelationships.com.
So I guess as we get to is there anything you'd like to add before we wrap this up about your experience, or any advice that you would give if somebody was 16 and contemplating what they should do about school?
Yeah, if I'm not pro school. So if you could like don't just drop out of school to like hang on the streets, but if you could find something else to go and make your life better, whether that's switching schools, even like a different school in your city, or adding an additional classes, or like starting like college credits and like doing in that sort of way, or even like taking on a certain hobby, do something else to make your life better. So it's not just school every single day. This is the same boring things. And I see these people that are immature, just to sit attention again, but rather you give something else to your life. I think it will make it so much easier.
You mean
And if what?
something you're passionate about?
Oh yeah. If that's writing, go and do that.
Writing, drawing, I mean something, music. I mean, if you're passionate about something, that will help, dare I say, calm the problem with school. If you have,
Right. It's not a solution. Like I like to look at things as like a band-aid, and you also have to get to the core of it. So you want to understand like really why are you not liking school? Is it like because like you, I don't know, have a problem with school and you like with learning and you need getting help with learning? So go and do that. Is it because like you don't have friends, and do you not have friends because like it's not, there's like only, you live in a small little tiny city and there's only 7 kids in your class and there's no one to be friends with? Or is it because you have like an emotional issue or social issues that you have to go and work out, go and get help with that? I'm very big into going like getting to the core. So if you're not like happy in school, try to understand what is it that's really not happy, that you're not happy with. But the challenging part with dealing with the core is that it takes time. So until that, or in addition to that, go and do something that you're passionate about. Go and have fun. So it's not your only focus in life. You have something else that goes and makes you want to get out of bed every morning.
yeah. Another note, and you basically did talk about this without talking about it. The one thing, because I've moved a lot in my life, I've moved from city to city, and the one thing I will say about that is, if you think because you're going to move that everything is going to be magically better, guess what? You're still taking you with you.
Exactly. I think like so many people don't know, they move across the world sometime, like literally like to Japan or something else, and then they're like, my boss is my dad, or this
Yeah.
person is my sister, like.
Well, and that's the thing I will say about, if there's certain people in your life that make a strong impression on you, and you find that you're picking out friends that have those similar characteristics, it's just because you're comfortable around those people, and it's not necessarily comfortable in a good way. You're used to that. And I say that from age of wisdom here. I say that because I've picked many of friends, and then later on in the relationships, I'm like, holy crap, it's my mother. And it's not that I wanted my mother as my friend, because I didn't have that relationship with her, but it's the fact that I was comfortable. I was comfortable knowing and talking to them. So pay attention to who you're picking and bringing into your life. If you feel too comfortable sometimes, analyze that energy and see, is it because I've changed, or is it because this feels something familiar?
Yeah, you want to check what's going on inside there.
Exactly, exactly. So I guess now it's time to answer that question. So, was it better to have quit school and gone to England or not?
Yes, it was. It was really challenging. It really, really was. Way harder than I thought. Okay. I always thought like it would be easy for me. Like I'm very easy to adjust and like things, but like I'm also really neat. And I'm all of a sudden living in a room with like three other girls. And like I could try to be neat as much as I could, but they just won't always be neat. And there's just like so many aspects of it that like I didn't think about. I was like, yeah, I don't get homesick, so I'm not gonna get homesick. So it's true, I didn't get homesick, but there's so many other things. But now when I look back at it, like this was so good for me to go and see, like, okay, that was challenging, but there were so much things that would have get out of it. Like, what would have happened if I would have stayed in school? I can't imagine.
But I mean, what you're saying though, it seems like it was better too, but you got to experience life so much differently than so many other people. And that had to give you some kind of empowerment to, no matter on your, I hope you don't have any, but no matter on your darkest days, you can always go back and say, look what I've done. Look what I did. And I mean, I think when people get down on themselves, they don't go back and say, look what I did. They're like looking at that moment of going, all is lost, and saying, hey, tomorrow's a new day. I might be able to kick ass tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Especially that, like, at that time shows how immature I was. At that time, I don't think I was so mature, just by the way. I just think that I wasn't as mature. Like I was mature, but it wasn't like as mature as I thought I was. But I didn't think it would be hard. I was like, I literally thought it would be easiest thing, no problem. This is like not even a big deal. Like I'm just going to do this. This is more like a cool thing versus like a challenging thing. And the challenges came after. So
well, I have to ask this, and I know we're going back a little bit, but I have to ask this. Did you grow up with a lot of adults around you?
a lot of adults around me.
Yeah. Where you didn't have a lot of kids in your life to influence you. You some people have a lot of friends when they're younger. And then some people don't get to hang out with friends. They're hanging out with their parents, their in-laws, whatever. So where were you in that scheme? Were you around parents more, or did you have your friend groups?
Yeah, so I actually, like I said, I didn't like a lot of people. I was drawn towards the older people just because like I would look and find them. If I had to go out to some sort of event or something, I would not like I wouldn't sit at the kids table. Like I would want to speak to the adults people to the adults. Like I was always really curious. I've like asked questions left and right, no problem. And it was just like more attracted to that, especially that my mom owned this preschool. So literally she opened it when I was 5 years old. First, like the first year I was in school, so I didn't go to it. But ever since then, like I was always there, and like I was never like associated with the kids there, even though I was like 1 year older than them. I was like I was always like wasn't a teacher, right? I couldn't really watch kids, but like I was always helping them, and I was always like thing, and I always spoke to the teachers and looked in that way. And the kids, like even when I was like 8, then the kids, like these 3 year olds, they looked at me like, hey, here's like Esty, and like they would like want something from me and stuff like that. So it put me a little bit in that position of more adult maturity type of place.
So that's where that came from, and that's where that perception came from. And I think kids from divorced homes that have moved around a lot, I think that's where some of people that have gone through those things, we tend to gravitate toward being more mature because we're forced into that situation.
Yeah, exactly.
Because
Yeah.
that's where our comfort is, dare I say, because it's just easier for somebody to understand and look at you and have an adult conversation with you, not considering that you're 8 years old, but you know. So I thank you very much for this. This has been a blast. I hope you had a good time.
So much fun. I absolutely love talking to you.
Well, thank you, and I hope my listeners enjoyed this as much, as we did. So take care. We'll talk soon.